see that happening. Joining us now is Republican Congressman Scott Taylor. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Alisyn. How are you?
I'm well. It looks like a beautiful day there in Virginia Beach. Thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely.
When the president makes this threat, do you see it as an idle threat, or do you see it as this is what he's willing to do in January? In fact, the government was shut down for 2 days. Do you think this is a possibility now?
I kind of see it as posturing, to be honest with you. Look, I fought against the government shutdown last time over the DREAM Act, and I'll fight against it this time as well. As you can see here in Virginia Beach, you know, we have more military than any congressional district in the nation. It would affect the military. It affects our National Guard. It affects our federal workers, our government contractors. It's an irresponsible thing to do, I think. So I do not support it.
I appreciate your candor. Why do you think the president often resorts to that threat?
You know, the president tries to negotiate a position. I get that. I understand it. You know, he's obviously has his prerogative and trying to push the things that he wants to get accomplished. And I get that. I understand it. I know that it was the wrong thing to do last time, and I think it'd be the wrong thing to do this time.
Do you think that it gets Democrats' attention? I mean, he wants funding for his border wall. Do you think that do you think it is ultimately effective and it does end up getting them to the negotiating table?
Well, it certainly could be. I mean, the last time the government shut down, you know, it was the Democrats shut it down over the DREAM Act, and they got burned for it because it was pretty clear that it was them that did it. I mean, the president wants some money for border security, and I get that. I want that too. I want secure borders as well. And you know, the House just passed exactly the dollar amount that the administration asked for. The Senate, I don't know where they are yet. We'll see. I imagine it'll be somewhere in between. So it is important to get border security, I believe. But again, I'm opposed to shutting the government down over that.
Yeah, I mean, and just to represent the other side, you know, Democrats say that they gave the president what he wanted in terms of $25 billion for the border wall. And they say that Republicans control all the levers of government. And they, I think, would disagree that voters held them responsible. But look, it didn't work out for anybody. I mean, I think that was the general consensus. You may.
Let me comment on that, of course. Yes, Republicans control all, but you add up all votes in the Senate, it's 51. It's not 60. So the last time the government shut down, it wasn't over those negotiations that you're commenting on. It was over the Clean DREAM Act, which had zero chance of passing. So that was irresponsible. I think it would be irresponsible too here. Again, in my area, there's real pain. There's real pain when the government shuts down for the military, for the National Guard, for federal workers, contractors. I don't think it's the right thing to do.
Congressman, I have to ask you about a story that we just covered here on New Day about these 3D guns. Today, regular people without a background check will be able to download the blueprint from a 3D and on a 3D printer make a gun in the privacy of their own home. These are untraceable. They are plastic. They'll be able to not be detected at stadiums and airports by metal detectors. How is this happening?
Well, I'm certainly concerned about it, and I know that the president just tweeted that he's, you know, once he doesn't. I guess he said something about it not being common sense or something. Talk to the NRA. I don't really care about with the NRA, but I do think that the legislature as well as the executive branch should be looking over these things. Should be understanding where we look to regulate them, if at all. Which I think there should be some, of course. You know, this is something that. This is a growing issue that we're going to have because of computing power and because of this stuff being able to spread like crazy, not just on the regular internet, but on the dark net as well. Look, legislation is behind technology. There's no question about that. So we have to, I think we should take this up in Congress to look at it to see how we may be able to help and be able to protect our citizens in the right way and keep guns out of the hands of people who should not have them, of course. And that's somebody, as speaking as a guy who, I like a robust Second Amendment, of course. But yeah, I do think that we should look this up in the legislature, that the president and the executive branch should work with us to figure out what we should do about it. You know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, listen. To be honest,
that being said, to be honest, you know, legislation, just because we put it in place, it is limited. There's no question about it. It's limited.
The
last time this guy, had the guns that got downloaded, it was actually Spain that had the biggest amount, the largest amount of downloads on the blueprints for these guns. But you know, I do think that we should take this up in Congress. I do.
Look, it sounds like we're all late to this game. We just had one of the dads from Parkland, from the Parkland massacre on, and he was saying that you guys in Congress and we in the media have been asleep at the switch while this has been happening. And he's been trying to sound the alarm that this is happening today, and that when this genie is out of the bottle, it's going to be really hard to put it back in. And we can only assume that the president was watching, because we just did it moments ago and the president tweeted moments later. Here's what he said: I'm looking into 3D plastic guns being sold to the public. Already spoke to NRA. Doesn't seem to make much sense. And so, Congressman, I know that you see the limits of legislation, but does this send a shiver down your spine that this is going to be happening today unless somehow Congress can stop it or there's an injunction?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it's unrealistic to say that everybody points to Congress all the time. It's unrealistic to say, okay, we're just going to be able to stop it like that. That's completely unrealistic. However, that doesn't negate the fact that we should come together to look at where there should be reasonable regulations on this technology. I got to tell you, I mean, listen, we're in an era of computing power that spreads exponentially very quickly. And yes, Congress is behind on technology and legislating those things. There's no question about that. There are things that we probably can do, and there's things that are unrealistic to think that we can completely stop that because of the way the internet works, because of the dark net, because of technology. So I'm not saying we shouldn't do it. I think that we should. I think we should try to reduce the just like there are laws that prohibit other illegal things, right?
Yeah, I understand. I just don't want to be in a stadium.
But it doesn't stop at 100%.
Yeah, of course. I just don't want to be in a stadium or a plane and have somebody be able to walk through the metal detector, So anyway, I hope that something can happen today. It sounds like
I understand that.
We have the president's attention as well as yours. Congressman Scott Taylor, thank you very much for being with us.